My husband opened a home repair business after getting laid off. His first 5-star reviews rolled in. Then suddenly, 1 star. He showed up drunk, cursed at my kids, left a leak worse than he found it. We were shocked. He checked his records, never even visited that address. The reviewer's name? Our neighbor's sister. When we asked her why, she said, "I just don't think you belong in business around here." 3 more fake reviews followed. We had to shut down for 3 weeks. Carl kept pretending he was okay, but I knew he wasn't. Every time I passed by the garage, I saw him sitting on the workbench, just staring. His hands were always busy, oiling tools, fixing a lawnmower that didn't need fixing, lining up his wrenches like soldiers in a row. But his mind was somewhere else. He kept asking the same question every night. Why us? I didn't have a good answer. Not yet. We had to refund 3 jobs. One woman emailed saying she'd seen the reviews and was no longer comfortable having us in her home. One guy threatened to report us to the Better Business Bureau. Another dropped out with no explanation. 3 jobs gone, 3 weeks without work, and all because of some made-up reviews from a woman who didn't even hire us. I spent my days at the kitchen table with my laptop, digging through everything I could find about Jessica Miller. Her name came up a few times in local Facebook groups. Mostly people complaining she was rude or nosy. There wasn't a lot, but what I did find just confirmed what I already knew. This woman lived for drama. But that wasn't enough. I needed proof. Cold, solid proof. I remembered something her brother, Tim, said one afternoon back when she first moved in. We were chatting about property taxes and front yard drainage when he mentioned Jessica used to work for a contractor up near Shillington. I didn't think much of it at the time. But now, I started calling around. I made up a fake name and said I was looking to remodel a bathroom. It took 3 calls before someone at Dry Ridge Remodeling remembered her. "Oh, Jess?" the man said, sounding tired. "Yeah, she was with us for about 8 months. Why'd she leave?" I asked. "She didn't. We let her go. She couldn't keep her mouth shut. Kept getting into fights with clients, blaming people for her mistakes, that kind of thing. We were relieved when she left." I kept the conversation going, careful not to push too hard. Eventually, he said the part one needed to hear. She also had this weird obsession with leaving bad reviews for other companies. Some of our competitors even contacted us about it. We never asked her to do that, obviously. She was just like that. That was it. My heart was pounding. I got off the call, made notes, and stared at the screen. She'd done this before. I showed Carl everything that night. The names, the usernames, the pattern of fake reviews. He stared at it all in silence, then quietly said, "So what do we do now?" I didn't answer right away. I was already planning 10 steps ahead. Because if Jessica thought we were just going to roll over and take it, she had no idea who she was messing with. I spent that whole night thinking. Lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, going over every possible move. Part of me wanted to call a lawyer, throw the book at her, sue her for defamation, and let a judge sort it out. But lawsuits cost money. And thanks to her, we were losing money by the day. What I needed was something faster. Something that would expose her, make it clear to the whole town that this woman was a liar and a fraud. The next morning, I got to work. I created a fake email. Something neutral. I signed up for all the local Facebook groups. Berks County Homeowners, Reading Remodelers, Honest Contractors of PA. All of them. These were groups where people shared contractor recommendations and warned about bad work. I posted a simple message. Has anyone else gotten strange or fake bad reviews on their Google business pages recently? Especially if you're in home repair or contracting? Curious if it's just us. Within 2 hours, I had 3 messages in my inbox. All 3 were from small businesses. All said the same thing. That they'd gotten hit with a string of 1-star reviews from new accounts, no contact, no job ever done. One guy said his fake reviewer used the name MillerGirl25. Bingo. I asked them all if they'd be willing to talk. Not just to me, but to someone in the press. I reached out to a local reporter at the Reading Eagle, someone who'd written about small business fraud before. I sent her a folder with screenshots, usernames, review timestamps, and my theory. That a woman named Jessica Miller was systematically tanking local contractors with fake reviews. It took her 2 days to respond. But when she did, she said something I didn't expect. "I know who Jessica Miller is. She did the same thing to a family-owned HVAC business in Kutztown last year. Tried to get them blacklisted. They were too scared to go public." Now I knew I was dealing with a pattern, not just a petty neighbor, but someone who targeted businesses on purpose. The reporter, Megan, agreed to meet us in person. We brought Carl's review logs, client lists, even emails from customers who apologized for canceling. Megan listened, took notes, and said she'd need a few weeks. But Jessica must have caught wind of something. Because 2 days later, things escalated. Carl's truck tires were slashed. It happened around 5 a.m. He was getting ready to drive out to buy some lumber for a personal side job, not even a paid gig, just something to keep himself busy. He opened the garage, stepped outside, and came right back in. "There's a knife stuck in the sidewall," he said. I ran out behind him. Sure enough, the rear tire had been cut clean through. A kitchen knife was still jammed into the rubber. It was personal. We filed a police report. They were polite but didn't promise much. No cameras, no witnesses. Nothing to go on. That same afternoon, I walked past Tim's house and saw Jessica sitting on their front steps smoking. She smiled at me. A smug, lazy smile like she was watching a game she already knew she'd won. That's when I stopped being scared and started getting angry. If the law wasn't going to stop her, and the platforms weren't going to remove the reviews, then fine. We were going to take her down ourselves. And we weren't going to stop until everyone in this town knew what she was. Carl didn't say much after the tire slashing. He just walked back into the garage, sat down at his workbench, and stared at the wall. I knew that look. It was the same one he had after the mill shut down. It meant he was one step away from giving up. I couldn't let that happen again. So while he went quiet, I got louder. The article came out a week later. Front page of the Reading Eagle's local section. Contractors under fire, fake reviews, real damage. The reporter didn't use Jessica's full name, just a local woman known to have posted multiple unverified reviews under aliases. But anyone who lived near us and read the piece could figure it out. It mentioned the reviews. It mentioned her online handles. It even quoted me, anonymously, saying that we were forced to shut down over lies. By the next morning, our inbox was full again. Not with jobs. Not yet. But with messages. Saw the article. That's messed up. Hope you get back on your feet. I had a weird run-in with a woman like that too. Think it was her. We're in your corner. But the most surprising message came from Tim, Jessica's own brother. He emailed late that night. Said he needed to talk. We met the next afternoon at the back table of a local diner. Carl didn't come. He didn't trust himself not to lose it. Tim sat across from me, quiet at first. Then he slid a folder across the table. I didn't know how bad it had gotten. He said. Inside were printouts, screenshots of messages, emails, even notes scribbled on paper. All from Jessica. Telling friends to drop a bad review on this guy. Or say he smelled like booze, that always works. She's been doing this for years, Tim said. Whenever she gets mad or jealous or thinks someone got lucky. She doesn't think it's wrong. She thinks it's smart. I asked him why he was showing me this now. He sighed. Because last night she bragged about slashing your tires. I froze. She laughed about it. Said it'd slow you down? Said you deserved it for taking over her town. That's when I knew I couldn't keep quiet anymore. Tim gave us everything. Said we could use it however we wanted. That same night, I sent it all to Megan, the reporter. She confirmed it was enough to open a defamation case. And maybe even press charges for vandalism, if the police would act. We took the whole package, Tim's folder, the article, the review logs, straight to the police department the next morning. At first, they didn't take it seriously. Then we mentioned the slashed tires. The knife. The confession. They said they'd look into it. But it wasn't over. Not even close. Because a week later Carl's business page got hit again. 2 new 1-star reviews. This time they said he made racist comments on a job site. That he creeped on a teenage daughter. All lies. All disgusting. I went numb. Carl went quiet again. But something felt off. These weren't Jessica's usual tone. They were meaner, more violent. More reckless. I tracked the usernames. They were new. But the emails used for registration had been leaked in an old data dump. When I ran one through a checker, it linked back to a burner Twitter account. The account had only one follower. Jessica. She wasn't working alone anymore. She had help. I sat in my car outside the high school parking lot, watching my son's soccer practice, and my hands were shaking. Not from fear. From rage. Jessica wasn't just some bitter woman anymore. She had help. Someone else was now involved in trying to destroy our lives. I didn't know who it was yet, but I was going to find out. And this time, I wasn't going to wait for the police or the news or anyone else. This time, I was going to end it. I spent the next week quietly collecting everything I could. I printed every fake review. I screen captured every burner account. I used a tracking site to trace IP addresses from one of the reviews. It wasn't a perfect science, but one of them linked back to a residential router right here in Reading. Guess who the name on the Wi-Fi registration was? Jessica Miller. But the second review? That one came from a location in downtown Reading. The IP was public, from inside the Reading Public Library. I drove over there the next morning. It's a small building. Not a lot of computers. I asked the staff if anyone unusual had been using the public terminals lately. They said yes. A guy in his late 30s who came in wearing a hoodie, signed in with fake names, always used the far corner terminal. So I asked the right question. Do you have security footage? The manager hesitated, then nodded. We keep it for 2 weeks. I filed a public records request right there at the front desk. It took 3 days to process, and when it came back, I watched it in the basement of that library with my laptop on my knees. There he was. Tim. Jessica's own brother. He sat at the corner terminal, hunched down, typing. His face wasn't fully visible, but the hoodie slipped off once. Clear as day. His eyes. His mouth. No question. That folder he gave me? The one that made him seem like the good guy? Fake. Half the screenshots were edited. Half the messages he showed me were from dummy accounts he made. He had staged the whole thing to throw us off. He wasn't helping us. He was protecting her. I walked out of the library shaking, furious, ready to explode. But I didn't go home. I drove straight to Carl's shop. He looked up from his bench as I walked in, holding my laptop. I showed him the footage. The IP traces. The edits in the fake folder. Everything. He stared at the screen for a long time. Then he said very quietly, "They want a war?" I nodded. "Then let's give them one." We didn't go to the police this time. We went online. I created a video. Simple, clean, and to the point. It was titled, "The Truth Behind the Fake Reviews." Our story. It started with Carl sitting at his bench, reading the fake reviews out loud, one by one. He didn't cry. He didn't raise his voice. He just read them. Then I cut to the proof, the usernames, the timelines, the burner accounts, the IP trace, the library footage. I didn't name Tim or Jessica outright, but I strongly hinted. Strong enough that anyone in town would know exactly who I meant. I posted the video to Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. I shared it in every local group I could. And it blew up. Within 24 hours, it had 12,000 views. Local business owners started commenting, sharing their own stories. Someone from the city council even reposted it. It got picked up by the Reading Eagle again. This time the headline read, "Local family fights back against review fraud, names named." Now the police couldn't ignore it. Jessica was called in for questioning first. She denied everything. Said we were harassing her. But then Tim got called in. And Tim? He cracked. Admitted to helping her. Said she convinced him it was just harmless. Just keeping the competition down. He confessed to making the accounts, the reviews, even slashing the tire. They both got arrested. The charges: harassment, online defamation, property damage, and obstruction. Jessica tried to claim mental health issues. The court wasn't moved. The judge gave her 6 months jail time, 3 years probation, and a permanent ban from reviewing businesses online under penalty of further charges. Tim got 6 months house arrest and was ordered to pay damages for the tire and lost income. But that wasn't the best part. The best part was what came after. The video brought Carl's business back to life. People started calling again. Not just for repairs, they were calling to support us. One woman said, "I don't even have anything that needs fixing. I just want to hire your husband for something, anything, to show we've got your back." Carl cried when he heard that one. First time I'd seen him cry since his dad's funeral. He's booked out for 3 months now. We've got new signs, new uniforms, even a new truck, paid for by a GoFundMe one of our customers started without telling us. It passed $18,000 in 2 weeks. As for me, I don't sit quietly anymore. If I see someone getting hit with fake reviews, I speak up. If I smell a scam, I chase it down. I've become that lady online, the one who tracks usernames and patterns and timestamps. And I don't care if people think I'm too intense. Because I saw what happens when you let someone like Jessica go unchecked. And I will never, ever, let that happen to my family again.